What is up, guys? It's your boy Mr. Tech Boy. Today I'm going to be talking about the history and past of the notch, why people wanted a smaller notch, when a smaller notch is going to be coming to the iPhone, how this would work, and if this is even worth all of the trouble. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So all the way back in 2016, Apple unveiled the iPhone 7, which was a controversial phone for a lot of reasons. It was the last year that Apple did not have one bezel-less device in their lineup. Then in 2017, for the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, Apple unveiled the iPhone 8, which was very similar to the iPhone 7, but Apple also unveiled iPhone 10. iPhone 10 had a bezel-less design, and it was praised for Face ID and the very thin bezels compared to the previous iPhone, which had the thick chin and forehead, and it had the home button, and now the whole screen is bezel-less and goes all the way up to the edge. But when people saw the iPhone 10, people did not like the notch. The notch is the thing at the top of the phone. It's kind of like a forehead for the phone, and it stores the sensors, it stores the front-facing earpiece that's also a speaker, it stores all of the Face ID sensors as well as the camera. Included in that notch is tons of 3D sensors that allow the iPhone to not use the front-facing camera. It actually maps your face out in 3D in order to accurately determine if you are you when you're unlocking your phone. Now, this notch is very much necessary for all of that, but as I said, people were not happy about it when it was first unveiled. People started speculating that they would be able to shrink the notch by combining some of the sensors or putting the speaker in the top bezel of the phone, and that did not happen in 2018, 2019, and 2020 when people said that was going to happen. When Apple did unveil the notch, there were a lot of things missing from the status bar on the iPhone 10, including the battery percentage as well as the name of your carrier, as well as other things. So if Apple were to make the notch smaller, you would be able to fit more of these different things that they used to have back on previous iPhones due to the increased size on the left and right side of the notch. I will be showing a concept on screen right now that essentially shows you what the iPhone status bar would look like if the notch was smaller, according to a specific rumor that I will pull up on screen right now. I don't remember the Twitter account or the source, but I'll have that all on screen right now so you can see exactly who said this information and what their images look like. I modeled based on this image a concept to show you the status bar, and I think it looks pretty good. So the next question you might be asking is, this sounds really cool, and I get that people were upset, but why did it take about 4 years to shrink this notch, supposedly, if the iPhone 13 that will be releasing in September of 2021 shrink this notch? Well, we are unsure why it has taken them this long, because according to the rumor, Apple will not be combining any of the sensors. They will solely be moving the speaker to the top bezel. It's possible that because of the fact that the iPhone did not have the rounded edges in the iPhone 12, that's what's going to allow them to do so, and it does make a lot of sense. But the other thing that we have to talk about is the fact that when people got their iPhone 10 who thought that the notch was really ugly and it was going to ruin the experience, they actually got used to it. And when I use a device with a notch, I really did get used to it, because the notch doesn't get in the way of all of your viewing. Right? Most of the time you are looking at the middle of your screen. You are not looking at the top of the screen. The only time you're looking at the top of the screen is when you're looking at the status bar, or when you're swiping up from the top right or the top left. You're never actually looking at the content in that top of the screen, because there really is not very much content. And so because of the fact that there's not much content, even if there was no notch and we had a completely bezel-less screen, you wouldn't look at that most of the time. Most of your content is in the lower or middle part of your screen. And so it begs the question, is this a real piece of value just to have a slightly larger status bar? Because people thought that they were gonna hate the larger notch, and people thought that they really wanted them to eventually shrink it. But as time went on, people decided that it doesn't really matter. But anyway, as I said, the way it would work is the front-facing earpiece would be in the top bezel, and all of the sensors would be below it, allowing you to have more information in the status bar. If Apple chooses to do that, they could just allow there to be more room inside of the status bar. One final piece of information that I want to say is that a lot of people believe that for the iPhone 12 mini, since the phone was going to be so much smaller than any other notched phone before it, that the status bar would be far too small to fit all of the information, and they wouldn't be able to have a phone that's small, that's bezel-less like that has the same size notch. So we were all told that they were gonna have to make the notch smaller in order for this device to exist. And all they did is they moved all of the items in the status bar a little lower so that most of the status bar isn't even being used, but the items in the status bar are also smaller. So ultimately they were able to kind of make the notch work on such a small device, but that small device would definitely be able to take advantage of a smaller notch. We are hearing from some reliable sources that Apple is going to keep the mini iPhone this year, and next year they're going to be discontinuing it due to a lack of sales. But if the iPhone does get that smaller notch this year, this last tiny iPhone, the iPhone 13 mini, is going to have a smaller notch, and we are going to have more information than the status bar, or just potentially the status bar icons be larger and moved a little higher. But that's all for today's video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow me at Mr. Techboy on Twitter. Link is in the description for that. Leave a comment letting me know what you think of this video and what you think that you would want inside of the status bar. My name is Mr. Techboy, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Goodbye!